Hello, and welcome back to Better Leader, Richer Life. Last week, we launched your Total Leadership Experience. We did an overview of the basic principles and our method, established goals, and set some expectations for how we'll work together as a community of developing leaders. My hope is that by now, you've begun by posting the assignment for week 1, having reflected on one of the alumni videos, assessed your skills, and drafted your initial goals for our course. In this second week of our course, there are, again, 4 lecture videos, starting with this one. Our focus now is on the first of the 3 main principles in total leadership, being real, acting with authenticity by clarifying what's important. What does it mean for you to be real as a leader in all parts of life? Well, I'm going to help you discover new answers to this question. First, by helping you to tell the story of how your values have been shaped by your personal history. Then, I'll talk to you about the power of a useful leadership vision and how to articulate yours. Next, I'll teach you how to take what I call the 4-way view by identifying the relative importance of the 4 main parts of your life, how compatible the parts are with each other, and how much you focus your attention on each part. Finally, I'll guide you on how to give and receive coaching with your classmates, as this week begins the essential peer feedback and assessment part of our course. These are the big questions that I'm now going to ask you about. What are your core values as a leader? What kind of leader do you want to become? And what will your legacy as a leader be when your life is over? Let's start with your story. All of us have been shaped by our past experiences and the people who've been a part of our lives. The first part of the assignment for this week asks you to reflect on those critical events in your past that have defined you. How has your past shaped your values and beliefs? By reflecting and writing about these events, it'll be easier for you to then compose your leadership vision statement, find meaning in your trajectory, and figure out where you're going, what you care about most in your life. It's your leadership story that you're telling. Sometimes people are concerned about revealing too much, especially about episodes that are painful. As I said last week, you should only reveal to others that which you are comfortable revealing. That said, I've found it useful to go a bit beyond what you're comfortable with and open up as much as you can to tell the real story of how you came to be the person you are now. Doing so brings you closer to others. It draws them in because it shows your basic human frailty, which is something everyone experiences. In our course, you have a chance to practice your skill in telling the story of how you've emerged as the person you are now and the leader you are becoming. If there are events that are important for you to consider but you don't want to share with others, well, then you might consider having 2 separate drafts, one for yourself, personally, privately, and one to share. Over the years, I've heard countless stories from participants about the events and people who have shaped their lives. Here's a part of one from Dan, not his real name. I was the youngest of 4 children by 6 years, and when our local high school converted to an optional uniform policy midway through 8th grade, my parents were not ready to accept it. They insisted that I continue wearing the uniform, claiming that free dress was untidy and that tradition was important. By the time I graduated 5 years later, as one of only 2 seniors that still wore the uniform out of a class of 300, I had learned to operate independently of the masses, and I developed a pretty thick skin. I also appreciated that times change, and doing things the way they have always been done can be harmful. You need to be flexible to change. I also became aware of the effect of labeling individuals. Well, everyone has a story to tell, and each one is different. Everyone's leadership journey is and must be a unique one. The more you're able to draw on the actual stories of your life and tell them when you're trying to grasp and then convey what's important to you, to make some meaning out of it, and then figure out where you're headed, the more the people around you will know, understand, and relate well to you. Stories create real human connections by allowing others to get inside our minds and our lives. Martin Luther King was a great storyteller. He wove the strands of his own life into America's collective history and passionately communicated an image of what an entire nation could achieve in his I Have a Dream speech, a call to action in 1963 that moved a generation of Americans to produce lasting change. It's a great example of the power that comes from connecting a personal story with a collective narrative. Now, none of us can be Dr. King, of course, but we can all emulate him in our own way because we all have the capacity to relate our own story to the larger one of which we're a part. So I hope you enjoy writing your responses to the first part of this week's assignment, describing a few of the critical episodes in your history that have shaped your values, and that you discover new insights about why you care about the things you hold dear. The opportunity here is for you to learn. And my hope and expectation is that you'll get useful feedback from your classmates and from our alumni who are serving as community teaching assistants. That'll further your self-awareness about where you've come from and what it means for where you're going as a leader. I'm sure you'll learn more about how to describe your own story by thinking about the reactions of your classmates to what you've written, and then by providing feedback to a few of them. Let's now turn to the thing that every leader must have: leadership vision.